This is National Native News. I'm Antonia Gonzalez. We recently aired a series examining the Native vote in North Dakota, where despite record-breaking Native voter turnout in the 2018 midterm election, tribes and voting rights advocates remain concerned about a controversial voter ID law. The issue received added attention at a U.S. House field hearing in the state, as Christine Trudeau reports.
The 2020 election is a year and a half away, and there is no indication North Dakota lawmakers will make any changes to the voter ID law that threatens to exclude thousands of Native and rural voters. Last fall, Native voters had a matter of weeks to come into compliance, galvanizing their vote. But newly elected Representative Ruth Buffalo warned in a recent congressional committee on the Standing Rock Sioux Reservation that this is not a long-term fix.
The true history of our people needs to be told. Comments saying, well, turnout was great, wasn't it? That is inappropriate and unacceptable, because that's almost saying like, oh, well, your kids, we mandated your children to be sent to the boarding schools to become civilized, but they're educated now, aren't they? It's the same thing, and it's inappropriate, but it's due to a lack of education truly of who we are and which land we stand on today.
Also at the field hearing, North Dakota tribes and voting rights advocates who enumerated the many barriers Native voters have come up against, and that tribes took on a significant cost to print thousands of tribal IDs, waiving the fee to tribal citizens. Ohio Democrat Representative Marcia Fudge characterized what's happening in North Dakota as essentially a poll tax.
By requiring that people go out and buy an ID that they don't need for any other reason but to vote. They don't need it to drive because they don't drive. They don't need it for any other reason. So, in fact, the state has created a poll tax on your reservations and all of the people who live in them.
The Congressional Subcommittee on Elections plans to release a report next fall in the hopes to ensure aspects of the Voting Rights Act can be implemented in states like North Dakota. Lawsuits to overturn the voter ID law are still ongoing, and nonprofits like the Sacred Pipe Resource Center remain committed to helping Native voters stay civically engaged. Executive Director Cheryl Carey.
Part of this ongoing effort, I think, to help people understand how the voting system works and how important their vote is and how important it is for them to be vocal about what they want and what our needs are as Native people and as tribal people. That's kind of be our effort in this off year.
For National Native News, I'm Christine Trudeau.
One of 3 original documents of the Navajo Treaty of 1868 has been donated to the Navajo Nation. On June 1, 1868, 3 copies of the treaty were issued at Fort Sumner, New Mexico. One copy went to the U.S. government, which is now housed at the National Archives in Washington. The second copy was given to a Navajo leader, and its whereabouts are unknown. The third, an unsigned copy, went to Indian Peace Commissioner Samuel Tappan. The document known as the Tappan copy was found in an attic in 2018 and is being donated to the tribe by a member of his family. The treaty marks the return of Navajo people to their homelands from imprisonment at the fort. The Navajo Nation Council must formally accept the document donation through legislation. Under Navajo law, gifts exceeding $1,000 or more must be approved by the Tribal Council. The Navajo Nation held several events last year to commemorate 150 years of the treaty signing. Part of events included the copy of the treaty on display at the tribe's museum. Plans are being made for the Tappan copy to be put on public display at the Navajo Nation Museum in Window Rock, Arizona in June. I'm Antonia Gonzalez.
National Native News is produced at the Annenberg National Native Voice Studios by Kawanak Broadcast Corporation. Funding is by Odawi Law Group, provider of Indian law solutions, and by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, with support from the Public Radio Satellite System.
Support by the American Indian Higher Education Consortium, working to ensure tribal colleges and universities are included in our higher education system. Info on 37 tribal colleges and universities at aihec.org. Support by PrairieEdge.com, proud to provide traditional and contemporary American Indian craft supplies, from feathers, furs, and hides to conchos, fringe, shells, and beads. In Rapid City or online at PrairieEdge.com. Wopila.
Native Voice One, the Native American Radio Network.